Moonlight bathed the princess on her balcony until a shadowy syndicate struck, snatching her away as her screams pierced the night. Her captor lunged to silence her, but as she braced for impact, the rhythmic clashing of steel erupted around her. Fluttering her eyes open, she saw only fallen bodies. Suddenly, a mysterious masked youth materialized right behind her. He became a whirlwind of violence, dismantling the remaining thugs with bone-shattering strikes and lethal precision swordplay. Moving like a literal blur, he whisked her to a secret sanctuary while the entire city swarmed with searching bandits. Safety was fleeting. They plummeted from the window, just as the syndicate's formidable boss blocked their path. The villain unleashed a devastating spell, but the boy shrugged it off. Then that beastly dogman fired a magical blast. Neither was scratched. Realizing things were about to get messy, the boy gently lulled the princess into a deep sleep. Volleys of arrows rained down, but he swatted them aside. Desperate, the grunts charged with drawn blades. Their attacks were pathetic jokes to him. Bored with the one-sided dance, the boy decided it was finally his turn. He hurled every arrow back with lethal force. The confused Chihuahua boss trembled, paralyzed by the boy's terrifying unknown power. Cradling the girl, he condensed pure energy into a massive glowing sphere. Before the mangy mutt could even blink, the devastating blast erased him. Onlookers gasped, desperate to know the identity of the kid who crushed a crime lord. To uncover the truth, we must rewind. In a remote village, a colossal dragon descended from the heavens. The beast glanced down only to find 3 kids casually playing rock, paper, scissors. These weren't just any ordinary villagers, though. They hailed from the legendary Crow tribe, and the winner earned the ultimate prize, slaying the dragon. The dragon roared in defiance, but a single casual punch silenced it forever. The boy even hit a victory emote. Orcs ambushed his siblings from behind. One brother smirked, unshaved his steel, and instantly shredded the monsters into confetti. Mere seconds later, the fun ended. Our protagonist, the youngest of these monsters, asked his father for permission to leave. His father was baffled. Why leave when you're already the village's supreme martial artist and its most powerful mage? The boy sighed, claiming monster hunting had become a total bore. Then, 10 seconds later, absolute chaos erupted. A wild attacker lunged at the father, who parried every strike with ease while calmly lecturing his aggressive opponent. Talk about a family of absolute menaces. As our hero plotted his getaway, the chief made a shocking decree. This changed everything. Before the council, he named his youngest son as his official successor. Strength is the only law here, and this 12-year-old had soloed a dragon using nothing but raw talent. Beyond his physical prowess, he could dual-cast opposing magics, a feat considered physically impossible by everyone else. While the council struggled to process this, a panicked guard burst in, begging them to see the village gates. They rushed outside only to find a mountain of monster corpses stacked right at the main entrance. His sister appeared, holding a cheeky note, "Off to the capital. Catch me if you can." His father's face darkened, ordering an immediate pursuit, but the clever boy was already 10 steps ahead of them. The monster pile suddenly released a toxic fog, stalling the hunters for hours. 2 days later, his genius sister intervened. With a chillingly calm smile, the tactical mastermind organized 3 specialized squads to hunt down her little brother. "His plan ends tonight," she whispered. Meanwhile, our hero was shivering in a cave, trying to stay warm. Sipping hot tea, he barely blinked when the warriors arrived. Their attempts to seize him were pathetically slow and clumsy. He systematically dismantled the group with a stone-cold expression before vanishing back into the deep, dark woods. Back home, his sister fumed. How could a H-100 red elite soldiers fail to capture a single 12-year-old boy? High in the peaks, our hero sought peace, but his pursuers clung to his trail like stubborn parasites. They tried every dirty trick to corner him. Even Nora and the Hungs went all out to end his flight, but he was just out here farming. Aura casually dodging every strike. Suddenly, a samurai sliced the very earth beneath him. The ground crumbled, sending him tumbling. They expected a splash, but he defied gravity, soaring through the air with magic. His friend stood frozen in shock. From the sky, he waved a final goodbye to the family who raised him. After promising to write, he blasted toward the horizon. 2 sleepless, grueling days later, he finally stepped into civilization. Exhausted and covered in grime, he finally made it. Suddenly, a blur dashed past, snatching a bag right under his nose. The thief laughed, calling him a sucker for getting robbed so easily. But in a literal heartbeat, the boy was standing right beside him. Terrified by that impossible speed, the The thug desperately brandished a jagged knife. Our hero slips behind him, effortlessly weaving through the strikes like a phantom. The thief is completely dazed until the protagonist reappears at his back. With a casual flick of his finger, he blasts the thug into the distance. One tiny tap was all it took to clear the path. Just as he's recovering the loot, the authorities swarm the scene. The boy tries to explain that the runner was the real culprit. But as the thief vanishes, the guards slap the cuffs on our protagonist instead. He can't believe his luck arrested on day one. He actually managed to end up behind bars. When the guard demands his ID, our MC decides it's time for a little magic trick. He activates spatial magic to borrow a high-ranking document from thin air. The guard jaw drops, and he starts apologizing profusely. Having acquired a noble's credentials, he's escorted out with honors. Back on the streets, he begins his tour of the city. He tries to snag a snack at a local stall, but the shopkeeper nearly has a heart attack at the sight of his coin. The old man stammers that his entire inventory isn't worth that single coin. As dusk falls, our hero moves on empty-handed. With nowhere to sleep and money he doesn't know how to use, the irony is real. That's when a local punk decides to corner him. Backed by two hulking brutes, the thug demands compensation for the earlier humiliation. He's looking for a major payday. That glittering coin is worth the risk. It's insane to think a mere child actually managed to take down their comrade earlier. He refuses to believe a brat won fair and square, insisting the kid must be packing some secret high-tier weapon. Our MC realizes he's staring at the same sticky-fingered thief who tried to jack his gear earlier that day. He innocently asks if they have any small change, hoping to finally break his massive bill for some basic supplies. The trio freezes in total shock. They've never even seen a legendary white gold coin in the flesh until this very moment. The thief snatches the treasure, instantly convinced he's hit the jackpot. He smirks, claiming there's zero chance of getting change back. He calls a processing fee and tells the kid to beat it. Little does he know, our hero isn't looking for a fair deal. He just needs enough to survive the night. Suddenly, a voice booms from the shadows, calling out the cowards for bullying a kid. A roguelike adventurer steps in, demanding they cease their pathetic crimes. The muscle-bound goons quickly surround the newcomer. They warn the stranger to back off before things get bloody. But before they can blink, the adventurer strikes like lightning. With effortless style, he dismantles the first thug, followed by a clinical knockout punch to the second bald brawler. The blonde thief is left trembling in awe. Seeing his muscle get folded like laundry, he realizes it's time to ghost. While the stranger shows mercy, the defeated brothers spring back up, catching the kind-hearted adventurer completely off guard. They launch a dirty sneak attack, slamming the hero into the dirt. The tables have turned in the blink of an eye. Collapsed before our MC, the fallen hero weakly asks if the boy is safe. Later that night, they find a safe haven. They hit a local tavern to fuel up. The adventurer warns the boy to slow down before he chokes on his feast. "Eat your fill, kid. I'm buying." He chuckles, finally introducing himself as Lisbon Carter, though most folks just call him Liz. Our young protagonist reveals his name is Denmark. Yeah, just like the legendary kingdom from the history books. Realizing the kid is essentially a high-class hobo, Liz suggests bunking at the tavern for the night as a safe bet. Liz promises he's one of the good guys, dreaming of becoming a noble knight. Suddenly, a fiery redhead storms into the room. She cuts him off, complaining that they aren't running a charity for every stray beggar on the street. She spots the bruises on Liz's face and sighs. This definitely isn't the first time his heroism backfired on them. A chaotic sibling spat erupts while Denmark continues to inhale his food, completely oblivious to the surrounding drama. The awkward tension thickens as they share a cringeworthy look. Before storming off, she drops a chilling warning. If they don't reach the capital soon, they're dead meat. Liz explains that his sister Alice is just burnt out. Sensing a knowledge gap, Denmark asks for a crash course on how the local economy actually functions in this land. Being a mountain-dwelling country bumpkin, the Empire's complex currency system is a total mystery to him. Liz breaks down the 8-tier currency ladder, emphasizing that the white gold coin sits at the legendary peak. These Pelcase coins are the lifeblood of the realm. Grabbing a scrap of paper, Liz starts sketching the financial map. He maps out the exact conversion rates, while Denmark studies the notes like his life depends on it. As he crunches the numbers, his eyes nearly pop out. A single white gold coin is basically a cheat code. It could literally fund an entire territory for a month. He finally realizes he tried to buy a snack with billions. The realization of his billion-dollar blunder hits hard. Liz leaves him to process the shock while he checks on Alice. In the quiet pre-dawn hours, Denmark takes advantage of the silence to organize his legendary gear for the journey ahead. Scouting his loot, he weighs what'll actually fetch a price while staring at a bag overflowing with white gold. But there's a catch. Those coins are deadweight here. To survive, he's forced to hawk his own legendary gear. As he summons his void storage, the mana flows like butter. Turns out magic is a breeze outside village gates. Footsteps. An uninvited guest crashes his room, but our hero is faking a deep sleep before the door even cacks. Sunrise hits, and he slips out, leaving a polite thank you note for the warm meal and hospitality. He realizes he's walking with a giant target on his back. Flexing a noble title is a total death wish. Mission: find a local forger. Meanwhile, the thugs who rolled him are panicking over their haul, arguing the split. As they get greedy, the blonde leader kills the vibe. Exchanging this much heat isn't just hard, it's dangerous. He warns them to stay low, only to realize his homies already ghosted him. Then a massive shadow looms. Objective 1 cleared. Our main character absolutely wrecks the thief, leaving him waking up with a mangled face. Dazed and broken, the thief looks up to see a massive wall of muscle grinning down. A literal giant rocking some bizarre threads. The giant ignores his pleas. Instead, he obliterates a nearby tree with one single punch. Talk, or you're next, the giant growls. He wants the name of the underground forger right now. The thief tries to play dumb, swearing he's clueless, but the bearded beast isn't buying the act at all. Another tree snaps like a toothpick. Start yapping, he threatens. Where things are about to get real ugly. Unless he wants a one-way ticket to the afterlife, he needs a lead. Desperate, he offers a useful contact. Flipping a coin, he smirks. 2 birds, 1 stone. As the gold spins and lands in his palm, the illusion dissolves, revealing our hero was the giant cut to a rowdy tavern dripping with dark secrets. Heads turn as a sharp-dressed stranger walks in, radiating an aura that screams, "Don't mess with me." It's our boy in disguise, low-key worried he's too flashy. The waitress approaches, intrigued by the new face. She offers the menu, but his mind is elsewhere. A voice whispers the path. Follow the code or fail. He drops a cryptic code masked as a food order. Instantly, the waitress's playful vibe vanishes into stone-cold seriousness. "Follow me," she commands, leading him deep into the bowels of the building to a hidden subterranean lair. He spots a high magic barrier etched into the stones. This isn't just a basement, it's a fortress. The waitress drops the act, channeling mana to rip open a shimmering portal. He steps through into another world. Inside, a mysterious mystic waits amidst swirling enchantments. The waitress dips, leaving him face to face with a magic user. Noticing his awkward energy, she invites him to sit, but our hero is already scanning the room with god eyes. He counts 6 active spells humming in the air. 4 are hidden, waiting to trigger at any threat. It's a mix of lethal traps and shields. But the crown jewel, a massive illusion masking a secret room. She eyes him suspiciously, wondering why this noble is slumping it. Finally, he lays his cards on the table. He just wants a forged identity. She blinks in shock. She was expecting a way bigger headache than paperwork. The catch. He's got to supply the materials himself, including a rare, brutal ogre bone. He reaches into thin air and pulls the bone from his void storage. Her jaw drops. This guy is legendary. She admits he's got skills. He's aiming high, though he wants a baron rank. But there's a massive problem. High-tier identities are locked behind insane security she can't crack. But our hero just shrugs it off easily. He'll handle the enchantments himself. Seeing his confidence, she quotes a staggering price. 15 million gold. Zero hesitation. He tosses a white gold coin onto the table. As it hits, her heart nearly stops. This guy isn't just wealthy. He's ruined the economy rich. He then asks to buy out her entire inventory. Money is no object. The following morning, he checks his fresh credentials, his golden ticket to roam free. Along with the identification, he scored a detailed capital map and some classified Imperial Army documents. He even snagged rare grimmers and stacks of cash. For once, his bank account is looking absolutely legendary. Back at the bar, the mystic stares at the 4 billion he left. Who the hell was that guy? Peeling off her mask, she realizes he's a total wild card. This isn't someone you just forget. She has no choice but to flag this to the Great Mother. Meanwhile, over at the clan headquarters, they're scouring the Empire's biggest cities for her missing brother, but she knows finding him will be hell. His mastery over illusion magic was a major hurdle, but luckily the threat was finally off the table. News traveled fast to the family's uncle. He scanned the urgent letter, dissecting every cryptic detail within the text. His nephew was a total headache for pulling an escape act. Meanwhile, our main character was busy haggling at a local armory. When questioned about his travel plans, he simply smirked, already eyeing a massive haul of gear for his journey. His ally from the previous nights was also stocking up. Beside her stood the fiery little redhead, looking impatient. She was fuming over the terrible deal-making. In a fit of rage, she began roasting her older brother's incompetence. The guy was always broke because he had a soft spot for beggars, giving away every cent of their hard-earned profit. Watching the siblings bicker endlessly, the main character decided to intervene and flip the script on their situation. The siblings gasped in shock. The boy was absolutely loaded, carrying an insane amount of top-tier gear. At the tavern, Lee confessed her worry. He'd vanished that morning without even a polite goodbye, leaving everyone confused. The redhead snapped that he probably left to avoid being dead weight. But surprisingly, the lunch bill was on him today. Our hero stepped up, offering to cover the costs. He had clan funds, but lacked any real-world common sense regarding commerce. Buying things was a mystery to him. When asked about his next destination, he honestly admitted his goal was the capital. He was determined to reach the capital. Realizing they were headed the same way, the warrior proposed a deal. Why not travel together? The boy was relieved. The journey ahead was dauntingly long for a solo traveler. Dismissing the redhead's complaints, he insisted that a larger party would only make the adventure more legendary. Reality check. They were stone cold broke and couldn't afford train tickets. The main character's deep pockets were a total lifesaver. He assured the redhead he was loaded. When he offered to spot little Alice some cash, her jaw nearly hit the floor. She was stunned into silence. Meanwhile, at the Imperial Palace, the Uncle Blatty Vaughn held court in absolute splendor. The mighty dragon tribe emperor commended Blady for his relentless service in shielding the empire from monstrous threats. Blady played it cool, claiming it was just his duty. But then he started getting way too comfortable for a subordinate. He kicked his boots up on the table, visibly annoying the emperor. Why? The sudden visit out of nowhere. Despite the busy schedule, he had urgent news. His youngest nephew had broken out of the village. The blonde emperor wasn't sweating it. He knew the Crow Trib's bloodline was far too powerful to be easily crushed. Honestly, the uncle joked that they'd be lucky if the boy didn't accidentally wipe a few villages off the map. The kicker. This 16-year-old runaway was the next in line to become the trib's legendary chief. This kid was a freak of nature. Rumor has it he dominated a dragon when he was just 12 years old. The emperor was stunned as the gravity of the situation sank in. Blady abruptly left, claiming he had business elsewhere. He had a nation to rule and couldn't spare time for family drama. The nephew situation was Blatty's problem now. He dumped the responsibility back on the family. The hunter was fuming, realizing he'd have to fix this mess solo. En route to the capital, the trio finally arrived at the station, ready to board their iron transport. Once aboard, they relaxed into their plush seats. They were traveling in style, living it up in first class. It was peak luxury. Still, the girl complained that the 4-day trek to the capital was going to be a drag. She refused to settle for economy class. Meanwhile, the warriors' reckless spending had completely nuked their travel budget. Shadows loomed as a pack of orcs eyed the train hungrily, but the locomotive roared ahead, refusing to slow down. Racing at breakneck speeds, the main character sat inside, engrossed in a heavy tome about imperial laws and law enforcement. The girl was amazed by his god-tier focus. He hadn't looked up from that book once since they left the station. She figured he was prepping for the summer civil service exams. With only 1 month left, the main character was grinding hard. He had a mountain of material to master. Ever the loyal companion, she truly hoped he'd crush his goals. His dream was to become an elite knight, though the path was brutal. Suddenly, the train screeched to a violent halt. A deafening roar filled the cabin. The redhead peered outside, wondering what on earth could have stopped them so abruptly. She stood up, annoyed by the delay, but the main character's danger instincts flared. Something was definitely wrong out there. Through the glass, a wicked goblin was visible, charging at the carriage with murderous intent. Fearing for her safety, the hero rushed to her side. He checked to see if she was unharmed from the impact. She flushed with embarrassment. They spotted a crushed goblin nearby, prompting the knight to investigate the chaos outside. Steel rings out. To keep everyone safe, he draws his sword, realizing goblins are raiding the train. Entrusting his sister to our main character, he charges out, promising to return in a flash. Panic flares. The redhead screams for her brother, but her cries are lost as he vanishes. Finding herself totally isolated, she trembles. Meanwhile, the knight senses a chilling presence lurking ahead. It's a bloodbath. Goblins swarm the cars, mocking the passengers' desperate pleas for mercy. A vile creature prepares to execute an agent, but a voice cuts through the chaos. Stop! The knight lunges his blade, finding its mark in the first monster's chest. The goblin leader roars in fury, swearing to drink the boy's blood as they clash. With overwhelming power, the young man strikes, ending the duel with one lethal neck blow. After clearing the area, he directs survivors to the back, hoping the rear cars stay secure. But the nightmare isn't over. Suddenly, a massive tide of green monsters surges toward them. Just then, a majestic blue aura erupts, vaporizing every single goblin in its path. In a blink, the room is cleared. This god-tier display, all thanks to our protagonist. Watching from the shadows outside, he's getting impatient. These weaklings are slowing him down. He's got zero time for games. His exam in the capital is the only priority. Through the glass, the redhead spots him floating outside. Her jaw hits the floor. Shaken by his hidden power, she watches as the train finally rolls into the East Station. At last, the crew reaches the legendary capital, stepping onto the bustling platform together. Alice is already nagging, terrified her brother will get himself killed on some reckless quest. She threatens to dig him up just to kill him again. Then she turns her fury toward the main character. Where were you when I needed protecting? Before the hero can answer, a commotion erupts. A noble's driver is berating a commoner for blocking the path of his master's carriage. As the victim begs for forgiveness, Alice warns her brother, "Don't you dare interfere." Ignoring the drama, the protagonist's sharp eyes lock onto a mysterious wolf crest on the vehicle. Priorities first, the boy decides to hit the bank before exploring the city's vast streets. Inside the Grand Bank, a clerk greets him, ready to manage his massive pile of loot. He requests a new account, but the clerk insists on seeing his official ID first. She scans the card on a magic device. The boy holds his breath. Will his disguise hold? Panic sets in. If his cloaking spells fail now, the entire capital will hunt him down. Identity confirmed. The clerk smiles, shattering the tension and approving his new account. Process complete. He's handed a glowing tablet inscribed with his personal financial data. This is his new debit card, the ultimate tool for doing business in this fantasy world. Finally, he can swap his heavy gold for spending cash. Meanwhile, Alice starts complaining again. She tosses a bag of coins at him payment for those lunches he covered earlier. But their paths must diverge here. The adventurers have their own missions to attend to. The knight looks devastated. He's actually going to miss the protagonist's quiet company. Alice, however, can't stop replaying that image of our hero floating in the sky. She remembers his face against the clouds, wondering what secrets he's truly hiding. I'll play it cool back there, she thinks, hoping she earns some respect from him. The knight waves goodbye, wishing his friend luck on the upcoming civil service exam. As they part ways, our hero's first priority is finding a decent place to crash. He hits a real estate agency, where an eccentric old lady bombards him with questions. Noticing his irritation, she quickly backs off and apologizes for her overbearing energy. He explains he's a solo traveler from the boonies looking for a quiet place to study. This exam is his ticket to a long-term stay in the capital. The grind starts now. The elderly woman knows the drill by heart. Her own son is grinding to crush this exam as soon as possible. Passing is just the start. Once he clears it, he's headed straight into elite academy training. Thinking it over, our hero realizes landing a government gig is just as brutal here as in the real world. Luckily, a house popped up that's perfect for a student budget. Most spots around here demand a massive year of rent up front, but this place is different, even with a premium price tag. It's the absolute best deal. The agency can offer our adventurer right now. The mansion's owner, Archilla, greets her new client with a graceful smile. That name rings a major bell, leaving the mage certain he's encountered her before. Stepping closer, she requests his ID, explaining her son is pretty picky about who hangs around. Once the card clears, our protagonist mentions her name, sounds incredibly familiar. Then the truth drops. Her son is actually the Empire's prime minister, making that surname legendary. This guy is already on our hero's watch list of nobles, rocking a forged identity. Enter Arkan Ardius, a high-tier noble with insane influence across the Empire. Puzzled, he wonders why a noble house would even bother renting out rooms. But there's no catch. She simply loves the vibe of having company around. Just then, the doorbell echoes through the hall. Archila assumes it's more guests, but the mage senses a trap. The Prime Minister is likely tight with his uncle. Surprise! That same family from before arrives, looking to snag a room. Spotting his buddy, the knight is floored by the sheer coincidence. Things get hilariously awkward when they all realize they're all gunning for the same lease. Meanwhile, at the royal palace, a mountain of paperwork needs signing. Reports hit the Prime Minister's desk about the upcoming civil exams and the new faces moving into his private estate. As he scans the files, memories flood back. It's been ages since their paths last crossed. He recalls meeting these youngsters back when they were just kids. Seeing little Alice aiming for the Magic Academy and her brother joining the Knights actually warms his heart. But the third adventure is a total wild card. His assistant already dug up the intel, confirming the boy is here for the exam with a noble ID in hand. Plus, it looks like our MC is already tight with the siblings. Now, the noble must decide how to handle this mysterious, uninvited guest. Kicking back in his new room, the hero wonders how he even got roped into this lease. Regretting he didn't just buy a place outright instead of being shackled to this mansion. Still, this could be the perfect cover, though. Hiding from the capital's top minister is a high-stakes gamble. At least his friend can vouch for him if things get dicey. Suddenly, he notices a massive crowd gathering outside. The security is insane. Way more guards than a normal house needs. Later that night, a bald soldier creeps toward a suspicious location. A chilling aura fills the air, piquing his curiosity. But in a flash, the soldier is out cold. Before he can even blink, crumpling to the floor, he gasps at the sight of a figure hovering in midair. Using world native plant roots for a hypnotic boost, the hero approaches and delivers a cold warning. He calmly demands to know why the mansion is crawling with guards. The truth: they're pulling a 24-hour stakeout on the second-floor guest. This chills the MC. Does the minister already know? It's weird, though. If they knew, why isn't he behind bars yet? Sadly, the soldier is clueless as to why the boy has been under 24/7 surveillance for over a month. Perhaps the landlord is just playing it safe with a suspicious guest. As the soldier begins to shake off the hypnotic trance, he wakes up totally dazed and confused. Luckily, our hero has already vanished into the night thanks to his flight powers. Back at his desk, he starts plotting a way to mask his identity. Sunrise brings chaos as the night rushes in with the latest headlines. He reads the frantic news aloud. A thief named Lupino just pulled a high-stakes heist at the Mares' estate. Finally, the hero connects the dots. That wolf crest belonged to the robbery victim. To make things even more chaotic, the thief just dropped a calling card for his next hit tomorrow. Fed up with the tension, the redhead tells them to quit stressing and just eat. Otherwise, the Royal Treasury's night order is going to get buried in paperwork. Usually, these stolen gems vanish straight into the black market. With the Royal Treasury tracking every single coin, everyone is frantically burying their treasures underground. Uncovering these shady deals is vital, especially when the capital's most legendary gemstone is involved. After a month of grinding for exams, the boys are finally ready to face the assistant. He is itching to start, but the official apologizes, claiming today's workload is a total nightmare. Before the test begins, the wizard overhears the crowd gossiping about some very dark market transactions. People are straight up losing it, claiming their lives are being ruined by this mystery thief. As darkness falls, knights mobilize while a shadow watches from the rooftops, preparing for a necessary distraction. To mask the true crisis, our protagonist decides to play the villain and take the fall. He pulls a Lupino mask from his void dimension, leaping into the night for his next victim. Soldiers keep a 247 watch on the boy's room, convinced he is their prime suspect. Little do they know they're just guarding a magical hologram. While the real action unfolds elsewhere, the troops gather at the vault, determined to protect the continent's most priceless treasure from the Phantom. They're guarding the legendary crystal of the skies, whispering about whether Lupino will actually show up. Just following orders, they remain confident that no thief could possibly break through their ironclad defense. Faced with a sea of warriors, the Count demands absolute silence, his eyes fixed on the prize. He is sweating bullets over his jewels, snapping at his men that whining won't get the job done. If they fail to protect this fortune, they are blacklisted forever with no second chances in this game. Suddenly, a panicked soldier bursts in with terrifying news. Lupino has breached Countess Margaret's high-security mansion. The safe was cleaned out of silver, leaving nothing behind but a mocking calling card in its place. The nobleman fumes in disbelief, immediately ordering his commander to split the units and hunt him down. One soldier suspects the mansion hid is just a clever distraction, but the boss is not listening. Blinded by greed, the man refuses to budge, forcing everyone to stay and guard his personal stash. But while they are busy arguing, the crystal of the skies vanishes into thin air right before them. Hidden in plain sight as a guard, our hero slips away, another legendary heist successfully completed. He blinks through a portal to swap outfits, transforming into the notorious Lupino in a matter of seconds. Holding the massive jewel, he realizes the mission was almost too easy for someone with his elite talents. He is strong, but fighting an entire army was not the plan. It is time to vanish. A room glowing with complex warding seals catches his eye, radiating intense levels of protective ancient magic. Curious if something better is hidden inside, he cracks the security code with effortless precision. He steps inside only to find a suspiciously empty room that looks completely ordinary at first glance. However, a keen eye reveals a single cabinet pulsing with a hidden Heil protection spell. After shattering the enchantment, he finds a mysterious, untitled notebook tucked away in the drawer. By sunrise, the knight is back, asking if the protagonist has seen the chaotic morning headlines. She reveals that Lupino has officially snatched two of the most priceless artifacts on the entire continent. Turns out Countess Margaret's stolen necklace is an ancient relic over 1,000 years old. That heirloom was destined for the future princess, and the boy nearly chokes on his drink. He is in deep trouble. The heat from these thefts is way more intense than he ever planned. Deep within the imperial palace, a frantic maid searches for her highness, calling out into the silence. Suddenly, a wooden box cracks open and a girl in a pink dress emerges after hiding away. This is the third Princess Aurelia, and her little game of hide-and-seek has finally come to an end. But she is not ready to go back, bolting away and demanding they stop their constant supervision. She sprints toward the balcony, her mind racing for any possible way to escape this gilded cage. With the maid closing the distance, the blonde princess starts to panic as her options disappear. She glances over the edge, realizing that a leap of faith is her only remaining choice. Covered in a cold sweat, she stares down at the terrifying drop waiting below her. Ignoring the fear, she leaps. Gravity claims her as she reaches for the opposite ledge. But midair, a cold realization hits she's falling short. Despair takes hold as her maid rushes to the edge, only to scream at her princess's plummet into the abyss. Below, the dense garden canopy swallows everything. Her eyes flutter open to find herself cradled by a mysterious masked figure. Trembling, she stammers, "Who are you?" Confusion clouds her mind. The stranger calmly explains he couldn't just watch her fall to her death. He promises to find her a safe haven, but then he drops a bombshell. Where's the third princess's chamber? Panic surges through her. He's looking for her without even knowing it. Playing it cool, she insists. "No talk until my feet touch solid ground." With a smirk, the wizard ignites his mana. "Hang on tight," he commands, soaring into the night sky as she wails in sheer terror, her tears blurring the dizzying heights. From this bird's-eye view, the sheer scale of the imperial palace finally hits her. Once they're safe, our hero gets straight to the point. "The princess, where is she?" Evasive as ever, the blonde stammers that such secrets aren't shared so casually. When he questions her business, she claims she has urgent deliveries to make across the capital. Without hesitation, the hero offers to help. Setting her down, he reveals the stolen necklace from before, hoping the trinket didn't cause a headache. She stares in shock, but he simply calls it a birthday gift. With a cryptic, "You'll understand soon," the mysterious boy vanishes into the shadows, trembling in the filth-ridden alley. She's terrified of the swarming rats. Her frantic whimpers stop him in his tracks. She's so helpless. He sighs. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashes his power to incinerate the vermin. Seeing her tears, he softly reassures her that the danger has passed. The nightmare is over. Hilariously, this sheltered princess had never even seen a rat in her life. Before he can disappear, she begs him to stay. Sobbing, she whines that her legs have turned to jelly. She can't move an inch. Soon they're perched above the city, discussing the dark clouds on the horizon. The princess pours her heart out. She's a fugitive escaping her father's suffocating cage. "If I stay, I'm a puppet," she confesses. "Forced to marry a man I despise." Her voice cracks. How could she bind her soul to a complete stranger just for a title? Our hero is baffled. To him, the concept of being unable to say no is utterly alien. She has the guts to flee, yet she's too scared to stand her ground. It doesn't make sense. Go on a hunger strike. Cut your hair, he suggests. Do something drastic to show your resolve. Fake your death if you have to. He insists she can't let others pull her strings forever. It's her life, her choice. He pushes her to seize the destiny she truly craves. His words ignite a fire in her eyes. "I'll fight," she vows, her resolve finally hardening. She'll face her father and name her own groom. Our hero smiles, satisfied to have changed another fate. Back at the capital's tavern, a mysterious gypsy slips inside. The bartender instantly pales, scrambling to serve her, but she ignores the pleasantries. Her mind focused on a darker mission. She vanishes into a hidden chamber to meet Big Mama, the legendary queen of secrets. "Long time no see, Milpia." The informant grins. Finally, the gypsy's true identity is revealed. She's the syndicate's boss. "Call me Mama now," she commands, shedding her old skin. She's here because a suspicious customer came sniffing around her shop for intel. The request was chilling detailed files on the Empire's military might. This was no ordinary noble. Something was wrong. Despite her magic, the client vanished into thin air like a ghost. Rumors of a crowd defector are spreading like wildfire, and Mama's already ahead of the curve. She bets her life that the slick-haired stranger and the escapee are one and the same. A heavy silence falls as the realization sinks in. The theory is too perfect to be wrong. If the crows are involved, a bloodbath is coming. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the princess clutches her necklace, a secret smile playing on her lips. She finally knows her next move. The girl hangs her head, apologizing for dragging her friend into this mess. She offers her room as a peace offering, but he shuts that idea down instantly. A heavy silence falls between them. She clutches her necklace until her knuckles turn white before finally vanishing into the shadows. Our hero vows to support the princess's future. The second he departs, a frantic maid finally tracks down the blonde girl after a long search. As he prepares to leap into the void, she pleads for his name. She can't let her mysterious savior just disappear like a ghost. Lupo, he whispers, wishing her sweet dreams. Her face turns beet red as she scrambles to make her escape from the awkward moment. Our protagonist takes flight, soaring into the night sky and leaving the stunned blonde girl alone in the moonlight, staring longingly at the horizon. The minister demands an update, but his team is still coming up empty-handed regarding the investigation. He grills the knights on their failure, then spots a mysterious notebook. He frowns, wondering why this was left here of all places. Flipping through the pages, his eyes widen. It's a literal receipts book of every noble bribe recorded over the last few years. Meanwhile, our MC strides toward the palace, ready to crush his long-awaited exam while keeping a sharp eye on the man ahead. He figures this gift is the least he can do after causing such a ruckus. Things are about to get messy for him very soon. This intel will skyrocket his career. As he flees, he smirks, hoping the Prime Minister enjoys the explosive gift left in his hands. Deep within a frozen wasteland, a lone girl trudges through the snow umbrella, held tight against the biting wind. She's as pale as the drifting snow. Suddenly, a boy named Alonso charges toward her, screaming Yuria at the top of his lungs. He sprints toward her, but catches an edge, face planting hard into the powder. She just sighs, asking why he's rushing like a madman. He whines about her not waiting. Annoyed by his impatience, she heals her comrade while throwing a few sharp insults his way. She snaps at him to stop grinning like an idiot so he doesn't look clueless. Alfonso's dead, set on becoming a legendary warrior. He wants to follow in his uncle's footsteps, slaying monsters across the land. But first, they must survive this Arctic hell to move forward. Out of nowhere, terrifying ice monsters surround the duo, sending chills down their spines as they realize they're trapped. From a distance, she watches in horror as her brother gets cornered, completely unable to intervene or save him from the onslaught. Two massive ice golems loom behind her, ready to crush her into the permafrost in a brutal fight to the death. With no options left, she unleashes her mana, triggering a colossal explosion that rocks the entire mountain and shatters the silence. The ice dwellers scan the wreckage from afar, desperate to know what happened. Nearby, a bearded man watches the chaos in grim silence. Plotting his next move, he knows the endgame is near. A young man mutters that the divine chaos has finally begun. The old man sighs, baffled by why these boys have been spiraling ever since they got obsessed with the mysterious Blady. Deep down, he knows they'll stop at nothing to get what they want, and that spells nothing but disaster for everyone involved. He proudly declares that his grandkids are built different. Once the enemies are wiped out, the scene of the chase begins all over. Alonso scrambles after Yuria once more, desperately trying to prove he's got the grit to keep up with her intense pace. She mocks his turt-like pace, wondering how he'll ever reach the capital. Unlike his flying sister, he's stuck running on the ground. Even when shattered, these goblins keep rising. These kids actually hail from the legendary and mysterious Snow Monkey clan. Welcome to the Warrior School's capital, currently decked out in full-blown carnival vibes for the upcoming celebration. The crowds are vibing and living their best lives. The streets are packed today because the entrance exam is finally here. The entrance exam is a massive public festival, one of the 4 major events the night school hosts for the entire city. Massive crowds gather to witness the carnage of the exams. Our redhead girl is missing, likely prepping for her big moment early. The crowd gasps as the Black Buffalo Squadron Knights appear. This is officially the greatest moment of the young man's life. While this is the night's exam, our MC has a secret motive for being here besides just supporting his best friend's test. Tomorrow, the redhead faces her own trial at the Magic Academy. Unfortunately, both exams are happening at the exact same time. It's up to the MC to be their hype man. He never even knew she was a mage, honestly, since they aren't close. He eventually caves, cherishing the night and their bond. A mental health day was long overdue after all that intense studying. He was drowning in exam prep stress. Suddenly, a heated argument breaks out over someone walking around with umbrellas in the crowd. The closer our hero gets, the more the tension spikes between the brawlers as things turn violent. The warrior is fuming at the umbrella wielder, who's desperately trying to apologize for the accidental bump. An apology isn't enough for this thug who threatens to snap his arm. Luckily, a knight with a heart of gold intervenes. He steps in to halt the bullying. Noticing the aggressor's arm isn't even broken from the minor collision. It was just a tiny scratch, which only sends the man into a blind fury as he demands satisfaction. A burly man with a mustache suddenly intervenes, calling out the hot-headed gambler before things get ugly. Retreating into the shadows, he spits out a final threat, vowing to crush them in their next encounter. As the dust settles, our mysterious umbrella boy reveals himself, offering a quiet thanks to his savior. Gratitude hangs in the air while our protagonist watches from afar, sensing something deeper at play. Deep within the palace walls, the elite gather for the final trial with little Alice waiting for her name. Tension rises as the clock ticks, but the star invite Urea is nowhere to be found. At the final second, she bursts through the doors, breathless, but ready to prove her worth. She is here for the magic exam, and her sudden entrance definitely catches the attention of the curious redhead. While waiting, the two friends shift their focus to the arena where the real action is about to go down. It is a bit suspicious that he is studying the exams now, considering his own life-changing test is only hours away. Silence falls over the crowd as the announcer declares the start of the night trials. Talk about a nightmare coincidence. The kid from earlier is facing off against that same arrogant redhead. Trembling with fear, the boy practically begs for his life before the first strike even lands. He plays it cool, claiming he does not know the guy and lying that he just looks like a dead friend. Alfonso drops his umbrella for a steel blade. Facing a mid-rank knight in a true test of grit, survival is not the goal. It is all about showcasing skill. As the two warriors circle each other tensely, the redhead unshafts his blade, his eyes gleaming with a murderous intent that says, "This is no mere school test." Terror breaks the young man as he bursts into tears while his friends watch helplessly from the sidelines. But the script flips instantly. The boy somehow gains the upper hand, shocking everyone in the stands. Even he is stunned by the massive crater he just carved into the earth. Looking completely lost, the main character, an elite mage himself, begins dissecting the raw power on display while the magic exams kick off simultaneously. 10 students at a time are pushed to their limits. As the instructors call the next group forward, confused by the complex instructions, the white-haired girl speaks up, seeking clarity before the chaos begins. The redhead smirks, wondering if she is even prepared as he breaks down the dual phases of the test. Phase 1 is flight. Phase 2 is precision. Simple rules for a test that is anything but easy. Alice remains silent, though her gut tells her something about this whole situation is incredibly off. Back in the pit, the protagonist is reeling, wondering how a mere brat could tear up the ground so fast. Seeing his rival face down, Alfonso naively checks to see if the guy he just wrecked is still breathing. The soldier lunges back into the fray, causing the clumsy kid to trip over his own feet and hit the dirt. It is a total facepalm moment as Alfonso starts bleeding, leaving the redhead completely baffled by the amateur move. The boy starts rambling about sunlight sensitivity, looking for a doctor instead of finishing the fight. The hype dies instantly as the audience grows bored of the bizarre lackluster display in the arena. Our hero realizes the truth. The kid has god-tier potential, but zero clue how to actually harness it. All he needs is a master's touch and proper technique to turn that raw energy into a weapon. Lisbon gets the call for the mid-rank trials and heads out, leaving his little sister in the main character's hands. Over at the magic trials, students are hovering in the air until their monotanks hit 0 and they plummet. The instructor is fuming, calling this year's batch of mages the most incompetent group he has ever seen. Our hero steps in, making his presence known to give the nervous girl a much-needed confidence boost. Alice is not thrilled to see her brother's messenger, but she listens as the seasoned adventurer offers some pro tips. He tells her to stop overthinking and just let the magical currents flow naturally through her veins. His sudden encouragement feels a bit out of character, leaving her wondering why he is suddenly acting so friendly. The assistant calls her up, and our hero starts hyping the crowd like a true wingman. Group 4 takes the stage first, tasked with defying gravity through pure magical will. Alice locks in, channeling every bit of advice as she focuses on the mana swirling within her. Suddenly it clicks. Energy surges through her body, and she lifts off with effortless, breathtaking grace. Soaring through the sky, she cheers as her plan actually works. She's officially the first one to achieve flight. Now it's crunch time. She locks onto the targets and ignites her flame mana for a rapid-fire strike. Channeling her inner heat, she calculates the trajectory and lets a blazing fire arrow fly toward the marked bullseye. But her victory lap is cut short when a mysterious girl in white enters the fray. This newcomer is cracked, sniping targets with high-tier ice magic from a massive distance. She's wielding the Ice Queen's crystals, a literal eternal blizzard. She summons an ice lance that screams through the air, total annihilation of every target. The Proctor panics and tells her to chill because this zone can't handle that much power. One more blast, and the whole place blows since there's no barrier. Still, Yuria secures her spot among the top 3 flyers. Our redhead can finally breathe. Meanwhile, the main character is low-key shook by how the white-haired girl handled her mana. Her control is insane. 0 wasted energy, and every single shot was a lethal hit. He never expected to find such a powerhouse lurking near the city. Then, Alfonso drops a bomb. That's his big sister. Cut to the arena where Lisbon is eating dirt. A bearded unit of man just absolutely dismantled him. This black buffalo tank asks for Lisbon's name just to tell him to pack his bags and go home. He says Lisbon's too weak for this league, but the kids stand back up, catching the big guy off guard. He's not finished yet. Driven by pure desperation, Lisbon throws himself back into the fire. The giant respects the hustle. This is the true grit of a knight, but speed alone isn't going to cut it here. Lisbon is fast, but he can't touch him. The vet praises his heart, but roasts his sluggish movements. A brutal haymaker sends Lisbon back to the floor. The bearded warrior doesn't give him a second to breathe. He charges in for the finish, but Lisbon pulls off a clutch dodge at the very last millisecond. Talk about an upset. Lisbon parries the heavy blow and counters, actually sending the giant flying back. He finally has the upper hand. By ditching defense and going full aggro, he found a way through. It was a huge gamble if he missed that opening. His journey would have ended right then and there. He's running on fumes, but his spirit is unbreakable. He's putting everything on the line. It's a relentless exchange of blows. Even with every strike being blocked, he refuses to stop swinging. He lets out a primal roar, pouring his soul into the fight, but the giant finds a perfect opening to counter. The hit lands hard, rocking Lisbon. The giant mocks him, asking what happened to that cool, calm fighter from before. He tells the kid to lock in and trust his training. That spark of advice is exactly what Lisbon needed. Tapping into his hidden reserves, he strikes with insane force, disarming the giant and sending his blade spinning. The giant is stunned, but Lisbon isn't done. He lunges forward with a ruthless final strike. Down goes the giant, but as the dust settles, Lisbon realizes something went sideways. The man is still breathing, just a fresh scar on his face. Lisbon immediately breaks character to check if he's okay. Big mistake. Annoyed by the scratch, the giant delivers a soul-shaking headbutt that sends Lisbon sailing. With a sword at his throat, the giant reminds him the test isn't over. Completely drained, Lisbon finally taps out. He admits defeat, but the giant's smirk is suspicious. Did Lisbon really think it would be that easy? He laughs it off, telling the kid that legends like him are exactly what the squad needs. That news hits like a dopamine shot. Just then, his sister rushes over, ecstatic that our redhead aced her test. He's hyped for her success. Despite the brutal beating, he insists he's fine and ready for more. He's glowing because he actually made the cut. From the shadows, the white-haired duo is observing the whole scene. They admit this crew has potential. As night falls on the academy, the trio heads back to rest up. Plot twist. The siblings are moving in, too. The older one greets everyone with a surprisingly polite vibe. They officially introduce themselves, announcing their extended stay at the mansion. The vibe is instantly awkward. No one expected these absolute monsters to be their new roommates. Their reputations precede them, but the group eventually warms up. Then a noble drops by with a specific request. He only trusts this manor to protect his high-profile cousins. Yura's jaw drops when she sees the guest. It's William Pendria, the legendary general with a royal bloodline and god-tier magic, is standing right there. The youngster freezes, stunned to hear his uncle's name echoed in a shady backstreet tavern. A rough traveler demands a room, but the clerk balks at the high-value coin offered as payment. The mysterious figure sheds her hood, unveiling Lisa Blade on a desperate hunt for her missing brother. Grimy from the road, the siblings just need a bath, but Mac insists on a high-stakes meeting. Squirming under the heavy title, the young boy insists everyone just calls him Len from now on. The Crow Village envoy reveals their currency is so legendary that regular towns cannot even make change. As the girl weighs their options, a shadow lurks in the background, tracking their every single move. That night, They hit a weapon depot where a suspicious merchant questions why they have come to him. Wasting zero time, they shove a photo forward, demanding to know if he has seen the target inside. He draws a blank on the face, but points toward a specialist. Meanwhile, they are just seeking change. The merchant's eyes, turning those massive treasures into pocket gold, is currently an impossible task for his shop. Smelling profit, the shady dealer offers a workaround, leading them into an armory packed with deadly steel. He claims they can trade their high-tier coins for top-shelf gear, turning their wealth into raw power. The girl eyes a staff, but the boy's panic rises. He knows this trade is a total ripoff. He pulls his siblings outside, questioning why they are eyeing junk they do not need for the journey. She just wants the leftover change, but the boy realizes the vendor is a scammer, inflating his prices. The warrior's blood boils to teach him a lesson, but starting a riot would ruin their village's reputation. Better to report this to HQ since the city is a viper's nest where nobody can be trusted. Suddenly, a thief strikes, snatching a pouch of white gold. The blonde crook thinks he hit the jackpot. He laughs, envisioning a life of luxury, until the elite crow tribe warriors corner him in an alley. He brandishes his blade with a desperate threat, but a shadow suddenly looms directly behind his trembling back. The warrior slams him down, growling about how annoying it is dealing with trash outside the tribe. As the thief hits the dirt, stolen documents spill out, catching the crook's eye in the moonlight. His jaw drops. He recognizes the hero from the photo, having tried to rob him just days ago. Everyone is floored by the thief's sheer guts. Meanwhile, the massive civil exam finally begins at dawn. Every student, including our protagonist, locks in, pouring their entire soul into the grueling high-stakes test. After the dust settles, students swarm the results board, but the hero looks surprisingly bored by it. His eyes scan the list until he spots it. He has officially passed the first hurdle toward his destiny. Celebration erupts that night as the squad cheers, realizing they have all made the cut for the next round. Their hostess beams with pride, impressed they conquered a test designed to break the capital's brightest minds. The Snow disciples are still rough around the edges, prompting a joke about Alfonso getting too comfortable. Moving forward, the hero chooses the dorms to save cash, despite Alice's warnings about her annoying brother. The mage's heart sinks. They have only just bonded, and now a sudden wall is splitting them apart. She cherishes their same age connection, sparking a wave of jealousy in the other girl standing nearby. Irritated, she demands to be included, forcing the protagonist to ask if she is finally seeking real friendship. The siblings fall back into their usual bickering while the hero quietly basks in his hard-won victory. He realizes this flashy lifestyle is not for him. He needs a quiet sanctuary to hone his true power. Disaster strikes when the secretary reveals the dorms are packed. There is not a single bed left for him. To enter training, private rooms are mandatory. Yet somehow, every single spot has vanished overnight. With his dreams hanging by a thread, he is told to leave his info and pray for a miracle. Meanwhile, a beastly duo arrives at the gates. The cow questions if their long journey was all for nothing. The tiger scoffs, claiming his entire existence has lacked meaning until this very moment of reckoning. He vows that once the world is in his grasp, purpose will be whatever he decides it is. His companion shudders at his greed, warning the lion not to cross the line of no return. He declares his goal. The empire must burn because no one on earth can match his overwhelming might. Chuckling, the lion claims he seeks no conflict. Yet his eyes flash with a lethal warning. Stay out his way. Terror paralyzes her as she watches her ally vanish into the sky, realizing that challenging him is a death sentence. Fate has already sealed the deal, and now the grand induction for those who survive the trials is set to ignite. The hall is packed with eager faces, but our hero is preoccupied, low-key salty, that he didn't score a luxury suite. Luckily, the mansion's master offers him a temporary sanctuary. Declining such elite hospitality would be a major flex and a huge mistake, but staying is a trap. He desperately needs to escape this gilded cage before the Prime Minister's eyes lock onto him. Constant surveillance is a nightmare. Suddenly, a rugged, bearded stranger approaches, asking to grab the seat right next to our runaway. He nods, but can't help noticing this newbie looks way past his prime. How did this old-timer even pass the cut? The bald stranger bluntly grills him about his age. Our hero casually reveals he is 16, brushing off the man's blatant rudeness. Thinking it was just weird curiosity, he is stunned when the husky man sighs in relief, claiming they are practically the same age. It is a total jump scare. This guy looks like someone's middle-aged uncle, but he insists he is only slightly older than the kid. After a quick intro, the uncle suggests hitting up a snack spot once this boring ceremony finally wraps up. While the winners celebrate, a mysterious blonde beauty emerges from the shadows, her amulet radiating a pulse of raw mystical power. She sprints toward them, breathless and visibly drained, catching the instructor's attention as she collapses at the finish line. Meet Arian Vaughn. Granted entry into the inner sanctum, she immediately complains that these royal rags are totally killing her vibe. Annoyed and itchy, she grills her mates. Is this uncomfortable cosplay really mandatory, just because it is her birthday? They remind her that as the star of the show, she has to look absolutely slaying, but their pep talk is cut short. General William demands an audience. The moment he steps in her private quarters, the atmosphere shifts instantly. The maids gasp as he offers a crisp apology and salutes her for officially making the cut into the Magic Academy. But let's be real, the general played a massive role behind the scenes, pulling strings to navigate her complex engagement. William humbly deflects, insisting her success was all skill. He reveals the real reason for his visit, a royal message. The queen is stressed about her daughter going undercover. If the other students knew a literal princess was in class, they would freeze up. It would ruin her chance at a normal life. But this secret freedom comes with one massive non-negotiable catch. Back to the present. A voice snaps the blonde out of her daydream as a formidable mage steps forward with an update. She is officially assigned as her personal shield for the day. This unexpected shadow immediately starts rubbing the princess the wrong way. An unwanted babysitter, not what she planned. Still, she plays it cool, offering a polite greeting and hoping for some positive vibes. Against all odds, they click instantly. It looks like this unlikely duo might actually become a legendary pair. The academy grind is real. From August to November, the students are buried under a mountain of nonstop hardcore lessons. Our hero is stuck in back-to-back lectures, all leading up to one final brutal exam that determines everything. Then comes a full month of field training in specialized divisions. His buddy leans in curious about the next phase. He wonders what is left on the schedule. Fate smiles on them. Turns out they're both heading to the exact same lecture next. The bald guy politely cuts the chat short, knowing our hero needs to lock in and focus on his studies. A drill sergeant barks orders, forcing everyone into 7 perfect rows. This guy clearly does not do gentle or relaxed. Scanning the ranks, he warns them. Every session starts like this. This brutal regime is designed to forge peak physical monsters. It is all about health supposedly. But for our hero, swordsmanship is the real boss fight. He has to stay perfectly undercover. He must suppress his god-tier strength to avoid a disaster. The real challenge, hiding his true power from prying eyes. While he worries about holding back, his bearded companion goes full beast mode, pulverizing a wooden log with raw fury. The instructor is impressed, noting he fights with the lethality of a war veteran. But here's the crazy part. This guy has never stepped foot on a real battlefield. Taking the win, our hero preps his own strike, overthinking his power levels. He tries to hit it with the strength of a wet noodle, yet his weak blow hammers the log deep into the earth. Luckily, everyone is distracted by his buddy's performance, so nobody sees the crater he just made. Time for a new plan. Strategy: avoid sword class like the plague. Meanwhile, deep within the great temple, ancient statues cast long, imposing shadows. The tiger is lost in thought until a sudden disturbance snaps him back. A messenger urgently addresses Master Fernando. The report is in. The requested army has been assembled. Slowly, the mysterious figure unmasks, revealing his true face. Stepping into the light, he begins a chilling sermon to his zealots. The mask is off. This is the infamous Cardinal Fernando. His squad thinks it's SUS that our hero isn't in his own dorm, but he's forced to keep his mouth shut. After finding out he's officially homeless, a chubby guy offers a spot, but our boy politely passes on that vibe. He decides to just wait for an opening. But suddenly, 2 shady figures in the back catch his legendary intuition. They're straight-up thugs scouting a house to rob, but he tries to mind his business, thinking it's probably nothing major. Still, the guy won't stop pestering him to share a room, so they could be besties 24/7. As the sun stays down, those thieves are already scaling walls. And this time, they've targeted a massive high-end mansion. Their plan, sneaking in through the windows. One thief uses a magic staff to silently delete the glass pane entirely. With the path cleared, they slip inside the estate, wasting 0 time as they sprint toward their ultimate prize. They're moving fast when one of them suddenly freezes, spotting a major roadblock standing right in their path. He warns that the hallway is rigged with security spells, and dismantling this magical trap is going to take a minute. They go full speed to break the seals, using every trick they know until they finally reach the main door. Cracking it open slowly, They step into the vault and lay eyes on a breathtaking, divine masterpiece. Behold, the golden statue of the goddess, literally the most expensive treasure in the entire capital city. One thief notes the temple's influence tanked after the Demon King's victory. Yet, the heavy security proves this thing's value. Out of nowhere, our main character appears in a mask to crash the party and save the day. The thieves freak out, thinking this masked stranger is a rival looter coming for their gold. It's a hilarious standoff as all three stare at the treasure, but the hero senses a strange, pulsating magic energy. He flexes his powers and begins draining every drop of mana from the artifact, claiming he's never seen such power. Losing his cool, one thug lunges at the masked hero with a heavy punch, but he's totally outmatched. With a single casual blow, the hero sends him flying, leaving his partner shaking in pure terror at the raw strength. To make sure no one escapes, the hero looms over them, declaring that every sin demands a proper punishment. Meanwhile, the Cardinal gets word that the pests trying to ruin his Grandmaster plan have finally been eliminated. He's currently hunting for the Great Mother's hidden base, and his best lead points straight to the Empire's northern territory, specifically a tiny village called Granwell. He's confident he can wipe out the royal family's rats in one decisive strike. But as he's gloating to his men, a massive explosion rips through the wall right behind his back. Amidst the falling debris and heavy smoke, our boy emerges, complaining that this mess is all the thief's fault. He instantly freezes when he realizes he's standing right in front of a whole squad of dangerous cultists. Panicked, he drops a weak lie about not wanting the statue, which only fuels the rage of the man, known as the Lion. The Lion realizes the goddess's legendary golden statue is being swiped and bellows for his men to seize the masked intruder. Luckily, our hero is built different, showing off insane speed and skill as he weaves through their desperate attacks. The cultists start spamming fireballs, but he deflects them effortlessly, realizing these fanatics are way beyond talking to. Knowing he's outnumbered, he dives into a black portal, vanishing instantly and leaving the entire room in total chaos. The guards scramble to find him, wondering how he moved so fast, while Fernando screams for his head. Reappearing on a nearby roof, the boy feels a bit down because his attempt at a good deed went south fast. Suddenly, a mysterious figure teleports right next to him, and the vibe gets incredibly heavy and intense. He asks if the boy really thought he'd get away scot-tangent-free before charging up a devastating high-tier magical blast. He vows to make the hero pay with his life. And suddenly, this mission just turned into a boss-level fight. Calling upon his god to strike down the Defiant, he unleashes a terrifying spell known as the Wrath of the Gods. While dodging, the hero tries to explain it's all a misunderstanding, but the magic detonates in a blinding white explosion. Convinced the thief is toast, the man waits for the dust to settle in the middle of the scorched battlefield. The impact was so violent it cracked the monument, but he's shocked to find he's actually taken some damage himself. His cultists rush in to help their leader, but he snaps at them to shut up in a fit of rage. His target actually managed to slip away, and now his body is screaming in pain from overusing his magical reserves. Safely back at the mansion, the hero realizes that his easy night didn't exactly go according to plan. He ditches the mask, staring at the statue, still in his grip as he prepares for another day of school. Back at the academy, he tunes out the boring lecture, obsessed with the mysterious statue's true origins. Since his pocket dimension rejected the artifact, he decides to mask it with paint to evade detection. Time is running out to return it. Suddenly, his bald friend asks if he's seen today's shocking headlines. The Royal Ball, celebrating Her Highness's birthday, is officially being hosted right at the Magic Academy. Doubting his style, the man questions if our hero even owns a suit fit for high society. He had zero interest in attending, but strict orders mandate every student, even commoners, must be there. It's a mandatory party. Meanwhile, a striking girl named Milpia wanders through the Magic Academy's halls. She's on a mission for a friend. Big Mama notes her inside spy graduates next year. Surprisingly, this girl is only 16 despite her mature vibes. Brushing off her partner's concerns, she acts. She demands entry, confident that her elite skills will make the entrance exam a total breeze. During her studies, strangers approach. It's actually the princess and her guard looking for a place to sit. A late arrival to the capital forced her to miss the main ceremony. Suddenly, a feisty redhead appears. She spills the tea, revealing this mysterious girl is living under the same roof as her guard. As introductions fly, the gypsy observes from the shadows. Her sharp eyes lock onto the target girl. She smells a snow monkey tribe member. Super weird since their kind never steps foot in this academy. Intel from a great mother confirms the third princess is officially enrolling at the university, too. That's why the general's niece joined her as a bodyguard. She suspects the blonde is the royal herself. Is she the legendary princess? Approaching softly, she tries to strike up a conversation with the girl. Feeling lonely on day one is tough, so she offers an invite to an after-class party. The girl flinches. Friendship is a foreign concept to her. Meanwhile, Fernando stands before his fans, questioning his chaotic life. Just before the showdown, blowing up at the occultists for their epic fail, they beg the cardinal to cool his jets. That just triggers him more. Amidst the salt, someone points out that the stolen loot was just a dusty relic. They claim the past is dead. They only ride with the lion for that future glory. Insisting they can't let one old artifact wreck the mission, the old man finally chills and pivots to the main event. The plan is simple. They're making a move on the capital's elite academy. The day of the princess's royal ball is finally here, and the city is absolutely buzzing. Our girl has been undercover at the academy for 1 week, and her intel game is top tier. Her SUS meter was right. Aurora is the general's niece, meaning her friend is likely the princess herself. She bets tonight's the night the truth drops. Suddenly, Alice pulls up, stealing everyone's attention. Masha is serving major looks in her dress, admitting this is her first time at a formal rager. She's dressed to the nines, though she feels a bit out of place in such fancy threads. Alice's big brother, Lee, introduces himself with Alfonso, acting like total gentlemen. Finally, our main character slides in after a bathroom break. The girls have to admit the boy has drip. He explains the fit is borrowed from Adam because he couldn't show up to a royal ball looking mid, but then a girl in some pretty extra clothing catches the hero's eye. They lock eyes in a heavy silence. Meanwhile, a maid is busy getting her highness ready for her big day. While the makeup is being perfected, the general and his bodyguard arrive to drop some birthday wishes. They're strictly there for security and a quick happy birthday to the royal girl. Aurora gushes over how gorgeous her friend looks, low-key jealous of that royal gown. The princess gets totally flustered, hating when people gas her up too much. On his way out, the general tells his niece to keep an eye on the princess, vibing with their friendship. The blonde asks if her friend wants a glow-up from the royal maids, too. Soon, the venue starts packing out. Up on the balcony, the adventurer squad is people watching, stunned by the massive crowd. The little one couldn't care less about the vibes. He's just here for the free food. But the main character is stuck in his head staring at their new teammate. He's sure he's seen that face before. Suddenly, a bald guy rolls in, commanding the room. Everyone swaps intros again since they're all roommates now. The bearded guy starts his usual routine. He's hyped to be around people his own age, doubling down on the joke that he and the hero are peers. Then Yuri appears, looking like a total goddess. The main character can't help but notice her beauty. He drops a compliment, making her blush hard. Right then, the blonde beauty approaches. She realizes she hasn't met the squad yet. But man, the princess looks majestic. Pure main character energy. Every guy there is stunned, especially the hero. Meanwhile, the general sneaks off to a secret meeting. He enters a literal shack in the city. Inside, we see a guy just messy eating in the dark. William mutters that he should have talked to the princess sooner. Clearly annoyed by the situation, he asks why his colleague is even here today. Turns out this mysterious dude is the uncle. With zero manners, the guy talks through his food, claiming he's only here to eat in peace. He tosses a paper to the general. Apparently, his youngest nephew pulled a disappearing act. He sketched the kid so they'd know who to look for. William leaves him to it, heading back to the princess. But that drawing, it looks like it was done with actual feet. It's completely unrecognizable. Back at the party, our hero is shook. He finally recognizes the girl standing before him. It's the same girl he saved. He notices her uniform is humming with some weird magical energy. He wonders if the magic is messing with his head or why her clothes are even enchanted like that. The warrior snaps him out of his daze. He panics if he speaks. His voice will totally blow his cover. Looking into her eyes, he wonders if she's about to snitch and call the guards on him. But she just smiles and introduces herself, saying she's heard all about the legendary hero. She prays they'll vibe together and forge a legendary bond once they're back at the sanctuary. The cultists assemble for the main event. The lion growls, demanding to know if their souls are ready. He grills the fox on the payoff for this twisted scheme. The fox reveals the ultimate prize. Toppling the emperor and seizing the throne is the goal. That girl's birthday is the perfect trigger. Rallying the troops, she declares it's time to unleash their version of divine wrath upon the world. Inside, the elites chatter while our hero stays ghost blending into the background like a shadow. He slips into a dark hall, cursing his luck. Running into her here is a total disaster. Thank God for the mask, since he wore it before his secret identity should be safe. As he moves, he realizes getting close was a mistake. He's got to ghost her at all costs. A dark rift opens as he summons his mask, a cursed relic that warps how others see him. It's his best bet for staying hidden. But suddenly, a lethal presence chills the air behind him. He barely dodges a savage strike, only to realize his own uncle is the one hunting him. The man lunges again, warning him that resisting will only make his painful end come faster. Every narrow miss buys him seconds. Terrified, the boy wonders what sin he committed to deserve this. Suspicion is reason enough. The man is convinced he's found a rat and won't stop the hunt. Then comes a weird question about his zodiac sign. Our hero is completely baffled by the logic. Snapping, the man refuses to repeat himself and unsheathes his blade, ready for a bloodbath. Sunlight floods the streets as the masked duo ignites their plan. The cow senses a disturbance. Something's off, she whispers. The air feels heavy, though she can't quite put her finger on it. She predicts a crimson deluge spilling from the purple woman's ancient scrolls. It's about to get messy. The purple woman smirks, praising those instincts. She actually thrives on the chaos and the desperate screams. She tells the cow to chill. They're just here to enjoy the show from the front row. The rooftop duel intensifies as the uncle storms toward the masked boy with relentless power. You should have surrendered when you had the chance, he roars, sending chills down the protagonist's spine. He begs for a timeout, but the man isn't listening. A lethal blow whistles past his ear. This guy is dead serious about erasing him. He starts overthinking that weird Libra and Pisces riddle. Suddenly it clicks. He asks if this is about a specific group, finding a tiny crack in the assault. You got the wrong guy, he shouts, claiming he's not part of that constellation theme squad. The man isn't buying the act. To him, our hero is just another bottom-tier thief in a costume. Desperate, the boy pivots to flattery, calling him a top-tier knight who shouldn't waste time on nobodies. A warrior like you belongs on the front lines, not chasing a petty masked runner like me. Just as he's yapping, a massive boom rocks, the city shattering the tense atmosphere instantly. This is it. The perfect chaotic distraction to slip away from his uncle's terrifying blade. Sensing the hunter's shift in focus, he prepares to vanish. But the man isn't finished yet. Where do you think you're going? He barks. Meanwhile, the ballroom remains in a blissful, ignorant trance. The princess broods in her chambers. Her maid begs her to at least greet the birthday guests. Her dress is enchanted with a distortion hex, ensuring no schoolmates recognize the royal face. She sighs, feeling trapped in the heavy silk. It's been ages since she felt this suffocated. I need air, she mutters, stepping out for a moment of peace before the party starts. On the balcony, her mind wanders back to that fateful night when the protagonist saved her life. She smiles at the memory of her masked savior, unaware of the shadows lurking on the spires. The protagonist is running for his life, but his uncle is a predator, closing in fast. One wrong step means getting sliced. He needs a high IQ play to shake this monster off. Why is everyone inside still dancing? How they missed that massive explosion just blocks away. Protective barriers are muffling the chaos, but then an even bigger blast rips through the silence. With everyone's eyes on them, the man wonders what is going down. But the moment he stops to think, he realizes his mark has vanished. Retreating, the main character deduces that these explosions are just a terrorist smoke screen. As he takes flight, he senses a much darker plot lurking beneath the surface of this chaos. Back on the balcony, sinister cultists corner the blonde lady. Their chilling presence demands her full attention. The duo insists she accompanies them immediately. Finally, our hero connects the dots. The real objective of these attacks is the princess herself. But what if his gut feeling is totally wrong? He needs to test a few theories first. Honestly, running away seems best since this terrorist drama is not his problem. Maybe the goal is just pure citywide destruction. If that is the case, leaving now would be a total disaster. His friend will get absolutely wrecked since the explosions are just a distraction for the terrorists to move fast. While soaring, he realizes saving his squad in such a short window might be a mission impossible. He reaches into his pocket dimension and pulls out the Eye of Horus. It is honestly depressing to use it right now, but he is out of options. The artifact awakens, flooding the city with violet energy. Through the magic, he tracks the masked figures, confirming the explosions were definitely a bait. Looking closer, he spots the princess being abducted, which is a major red flag. The poor girl is terrified. She demands to know what they are doing, warning they will be in deep trouble for this. Trembling, she even tries to bribe them to stop. Losing his cool, one of the masked thugs snarls. Things would be simpler if they just knocked her out. Sadly, her magic resistance makes their spells completely useless. Stepping closer, the man threatens her with a terrifying ultimatum. One more word, and there will be consequences. Frightened, she screams, questioning their audacity to threaten royalty. That is the final straw for our hero, who unleashes a devastating assault. The girl shrieks, squeezing her eyes shut to avoid seeing the fatal blow. But things take a weird turn. When she peeks, she sees every single one of her kidnappers face down on the pavement. To her shock, a voice remarks that it has been a hot minute since they last met. Mr. Lupino arrives, just in time, clutching the save once again. But more masked goons are still lurking, rushing back into the fray. To keep her safe, the hero tells the lady to hide while he handles business. The remaining enemies charge the main character, desperate to reclaim the princess. With a single fluid motion, he launches a masked man into orbit with a signature kick. Reappearing behind them, he mocks their amateur terrorist vibes. The last kidnapper draws his blade and lunges. Our skilled hero focuses effortlessly dancing around the strike before leaping over him. He then triggers his rocket punch ability. More enemies swarm in like a never-ending horde, determined to take the boy down. The constant reinforcements are starting to drain the protagonist's stamina, and he is officially annoyed. Dodging another swing, he realizes he needs to end this fight instantly. By tapping into his magic, he delivers a bone-shattering elbow strike, dropping the masked man for the count. With pure main character energy, he catches a sword midair to boost his defense. Flashing a grin, he warns them not to make so much noise before wiping everyone out in one legendary strike. From afar, the blonde watches the battle totally stark. The plan bounced before the rest of the army shows up. To wrap things up, the hero casually asks the lady out on a date once the chaos settles. The princess is left completely speechless by his sheer audacity. Seeing his fallen henchmen littering the ground, the lion leader approaches, intrigued. A survivor points out that this was the work of a mysterious thief. Hearing this, the old man sees it as a divine opportunity. He bellows that God's judgment must be delivered without delay. The explosions have reduced the city to rubble, but the protagonist's uncle has survived the blast. Looking at the center of the explosion, he is glad everyone is safe when something suddenly triggers his instincts. The hunter narrowly dodges a lethal arrow. He activates his skill, slamming a violet blast into the earth. A masked blade master emerges and a high-stakes duel begins. Suddenly, the man spots a fatal opening and strikes his opponent down. He obliterates him with one hit, pinning him against the wall. This terrifying display shocks a bystander. Meanwhile, more terrorists crawl out of the woodwork, itching for a fight. It is clear these guys were waiting for the hunter. Quickly, he rains down a storm of arrows on the army. He is nearly crushed by a massive flying boulder. Using his insane strength, he shatters the rock with a single punch, charging the stones with mana. He flings